Today. Welcome to Wednesday, the middle of the week, the hump day. How are we all doing? Good to see you all here. If you are brand new watching this for the first time, massive welcome to you. The language on this channel is not your typical trading language, so stick with us. If things don't make sense, it will over time. If you're returning, welcome back. Big hello to all of the TTC tribe that I can see in the chat there. Who have we got here? Jessica, Faith, Sparks, Alicia, Ryan, Pranav, Evan, Janet, Mike, Faith. Yes, big. We had a big celebration in our Discord yesterday. We finished the final lesson in the entire market maker method, which is one part of the entire trade by design method. So that was a very big feat for all of us. It's taken us, we started in April. It's now the end of August. So it's taken us about 5 months just to learn this whole method, which really goes to show that trading, there is no magic pill. There is no one indicator. It is absolutely an apprenticeship. And if you want to get good at this, you have to be willing to dedicate time and effort to it. And not only that, you have to really learn to love the skill and not do it just for the money, because the money won't come unless you fall in love with the skill first. So let's talk about what's going on today. Bitcoin got me yesterday, guys. It got me. It's okay, but it got me. We're going to talk about that. And we've got some interesting things to go over. So let's first talk about what we were having a look at yesterday. On yesterday's video, we had seen this W formation here. My entry was on this area here. Actually, I'd taken a partial entry here and then a fibs level entry here. So I'd staggered in orders along the way, and then price had moved up, looking great. Everything was going great, waiting for my retest. On yesterday's video, I said to wait for the retest of the 50 EMA. If we failed that, then there was no trade unless we created a higher low. So for anyone who was waiting for a trade, there actually was no trade in this retest zone, because as you can see, we didn't retest. We failed right through it. Now, this move down here, my personal rule for trading is that if price comes back to my entry and closes below, I'm out of the trade. I scratch the trade, because it means my entry was no longer valid. I don't wait for price to hit my stop loss if my entry is now invalid. So I actually exited on this candle here, and then what do you know, we ended up moving right back up. So, oh well, that's what happens. I did kind of make up for it because I doubled down on ETH, which we'll get to in a second. So that's fine. But I want to go over just this little area here, because I did notice, well, you could say, was this 3 hits to the low? Because 3 hits to the low is a reversal signal as well in the method. And in my opinion, this doesn't qualify as 3 hits to the low. The reason being, when you zoom out, your 3 hits to low has to start from your peak formation, and the peak formation is down here. So if it was going to be a 3 hit to the low reversal signal, it should have been 3 hits around this 20,750 area, not up here. This is more of a, I guess, a trapping. It's not a volume trapping formation, but it's more of just a trap. If you see here that once the market makers had trapped shorts here, remembering that, you know, for every candle there are buyers and sellers, so people had to go short here on these candles, and price did not return back to this zone at all. So really all this was doing was, I guess, probably trying to induce more short positions potentially, but having not returned here, in hindsight now, was really the indicator that they didn't actually want to bring price down, because they weren't coming back down into this candle area. But anyway, that was that. At the end of the day, if the chart's not clear, you know, there's 16,000 cryptocurrencies and you can just go trade the same pattern on something else. So some of you guys stayed in this. That's great. Me personally, not in a leveraged position on Bitcoin right now. So this retest was no good. However, whilst I feel like the pattern is a little bit unclear, there is some stuff I want to kind of point out to you. Number one, price is currently hitting up against the 50% line of the current 4-hour vector candle. If I just quickly switch to the 4-hour, it's this. Oops, sorry. It's this candle here that I'm talking about. So we're currently hitting up, you can see here on the 4-hour, many wicks to try and get above it, but none yet. So until we can get past that and break it, it is a little bit of a worry. What else have we got going on the 15-minute time frame? What I do like at this point in time, which may change as we know, so just got to keep an eye on it, is that we do have longs, like quite a large level of longs at 21,150, meaning that if price were to retrace down there, like there's more orders, so it may not get all the way down there. This is just the highest level. But at the highest level, if price were to come down here, it would create a higher low. So for people who are in long positions, that's still positive. If we have a look at the heat map, just to be really clear, so I think it was, oh no, they've moved down. Oh no, hang on, here it is. See how we've got 2K there at 21,150? That's the level I'm kind of talking about. But, you know, there is all of these orders above that level. So price would have to come through, eat through all of those before it has a chance of bouncing off the 21,150. So there's no guarantee that we're going to retrace there today. I'm just saying, as long as those large orders stay there, that does look fairly positive for some more upside, if the structure shows us a higher low, should we get all the way down there. What I don't like about this current pattern is you could potentially also call this a bit of a Bart Simpson, which is not finished yet, but if it does finish, that's back. Now, could it be a Bart Simpson that only finishes here? Yes, it absolutely could. But, that's something we have to be prepared for as well. And the other thing too is I noticed some very tricky things going on in yesterday's price action, which were happening last week, and they led to a very big move. And what that is a session switch. So just a very, very brief description of each session. The Asia session usually consolidates. It usually sets no more than in a typical session, it will have no more than a 2% range, and it just goes sideways. The UK session will run a trend, and then the US session will either reverse that trend or it will continue the trend, just depending on the leverage in the market. So you can see here on yesterday's price action, we had a complete session shift. We had Asia run a trend, we had UK reverse the trend, and we had US consolidate. When the US consolidates is when I get skeptical, because we know that the largest volume comes in the US. So if the US are accumulating, what are they doing it for? They're always doing that for a bigger move to come. And if we go back to last week, we can see that a lot here. US consolidated here. And even before this big move, look at that, US consolidated here, and then eventually we had this big drop away in another session. And again, here, US consolidated. This one obviously dragged out for more than a day, but it's not the normal, typical move for the US to consolidate. So that's what's made me really skeptical. Even here, you can see consolidation, in the end, very big fall away. Now, it may not happen in that day, but it's something just to be a little bit sketch about. Anytime you see US consolidate, a bigger plan is in the works. Now, which way? Well, that's what we have to wait for. So what I think may be happening, and kind of what makes logical sense to me, is that again, we're just having another accumulation week leading up to a very big news event that could, really massively move the market. And which way, we don't know. Obviously, a lot of people are, fairly bearish on the Friday news. They're fairly, scared about what's going to come out of this Jackson Hole symposium and the core PCE price index. So it could be that, we head down this week because they're pricing that in and maybe, de-risking a little bit and whatnot. And maybe, we start to we're building this leverage to head down, or it could be that we move up into that because it turns out to be bad and then we have a big sell off afterwards. So I think it's just going to be a tricky week to trade. And the other thing too is the leverage levels aren't really helping us. When we have a lot of leverage in the market, sorry if that just ruined your retinas, because it did just to me. But when we have a lot of leverage in the market, it's kind of easy because we know, okay, you know, we've got a very, very large delta to one side. They're going to have to turn this around. And then you can see this is my full screen. This is like, I can see what you can see on my other screen. So you can see my full screen. Anything else that's on the edge is irrelevant. So the point being that this delta is now basically neutral. So, and you can see up here, we've got the short liquidations at 908 and the long liquidations at 954. It's basically 50-50 between longs and shorts right now. But there is a lot of open positions available for the market maker to shoot price wherever they want. And these circles here were the ones that we were talking about on yesterday's video, which if we go up to this, so the 50x traders at 21,800, and then what's this one at 22.24. So interestingly enough, let's see if it's still there. Because it was before. Yeah, we do. We've got this 1.7K worth of short orders at 22. So that's going to wipe out the 50x traders if we head up there today. And in addition to that, in addition to that, so where is it? That is going to be right under this candle zone that I pointed out on yesterday's video. Was it the 1 hour? No, sorry, it was a 15-minute. My bad. Let me just zoom out. So on yesterday's video, I talked about this candle that is imbalanced, and I said at some point we will have to come back to recover that. However, you know, wasn't so confident that we would move up into that zone. But those short orders there are some at 22 and some at 21.8. So anywhere between there will, yes, lead to a move up, but it will still be bearish longer term because it's not even entering into this area of imbalance. And also it will end up being a rejection of the 800 EMA. So if we do have a retracement and continue up today, then those are still the same levels from yesterday's video to watch out for. We've got to get past this 50% line of the 4 hour first, which is 21,570. That is step one. And we absolutely could reject off that. So I don't think this is a guarantee of more upside in this current price action. Just keep that in mind. But you'll be safe if this 21,150 orders stay there and you get a higher low anywhere above that would be fine. Then secondly, if we can break that, we have to come for this 50% monthly line, which is at 21,730, which is pretty much right under the Binance shorts at 21,800. So we're looking somewhere between there, and then finally we're looking somewhere around the 22K. All of this would be dependent on this Bart Simpson not playing out, because a Bart Simpson really should give us let me draw it out. It really should, if it plays out, give us a full reset back to the start. It could just be that this is a very ugly looking board meeting and we do come to create a higher low. So just keep that in mind. If you did enter longs here, at the first target is definitely an area that you should at least take partial profits. Now, something else I want to point out on this, because I absolutely cannot believe what I see on social media sometimes. I'm not even going to lie about it. I have been watching some people on social media draw this pattern on the daily, and it's just ludicrous to me, because before we had this drop, the same people were drawing the pattern like this, right? So technically the pattern has broken and this period here should be the retest. But no, now they've moved their trend line like this and they're saying we're still within the flag, it's going up, we're still within the flag, right? this is the problem with subjective technical analysis is, if you move your lines in order to convince yourself of a story, that is just a very, very big trap, in my opinion. So just keep this in mind, because this will have a lot to do with retail sentiment, which is something that we kind of need to be aware of in order to make our decisions. That at this point in time, retail starting to convince themselves we're still in the channel and we're going to head up. And they're not considering this, some of them are not considering this to be a break and retest. Now, the other thing too is, even if that turns out to happen and we do start to move up, all I'd be watching for is a move up into our area of interest to create a lower high within their, bear flag, within their bear flag. And if we get that lower high, it's more downtime to come anyway. And that could happen. We could have this little slow trend move up for the week, and then potentially on the Friday news, we could have that lower high that brings us back down. So definitely keep an eye on higher time frames. And, in addition to what's going on in the general market as well. Because one thing that was very interesting yesterday was, on yesterday's video, when price was here, I said we had a potential for a left side W to be forming. This is on the S&P. And you had to watch to see if we get the right side W, because if we don't get the right side W, then Bitcoin doesn't really have much of a chance. What was interesting about yesterday was we came down, we actually created the lower low on both the NASDAQ and the S&P, but at the exact same time, Bitcoin held the level. So that was really, really positive. And it just goes to show that, they say that it's all correlated and everything like that, but things move where the liquidity is and where they want it to move. If this one created a lower low and Bitcoin didn't, we now know why, because on Bitcoin, they had trapped traders down here that they didn't want to release. But they didn't have that on S&P. We're in a black hole, right? So it really is just a game of liquidity and what is available, but very interesting how we had a lower low there and we, had basically a double bottom on Bitcoin there. Now, was there anything else I have to say about Bitcoin? Let me just quickly go back to these levels. As far as shorting Bitcoin, if you don't have a bullish bias and you're looking to short it, in case this Bart Simpson does play out, the only way I'd really short Bitcoin at this point in time would be if we broke and retested the 50 EMA and all of the other EMAs started to turn down. So it would have to be the 10 crosses underneath the 20. So the green crosses underneath the red, and then they start to look like they're going to cross under the 50. Price breaks below the 50, retest that, looks very weak, then there could be a short back down from there. And the only reason I say that is because I don't think it's very clear what actual level we are in on Bitcoin. So you have to be prepared for both sides. It could simply be that we're not in a level, and when you zoom out, we are just in a very large accumulation range, which we've seen this happen before. The only reason we'd be in a very large accumulation range is because the market maker is preparing for a big move. Now, when we go to Ethereum, however, Ethereum is being a lot kinder to us, which also gives us a hint that probably the alts will be a lot kinder to us as well. And, there's probably going to be bigger percentage gains there, to be honest with you. So with Ethereum, we had identified the W. We did break down out of my original area of interest. However, we did create a higher low. So the rule is, as long as the retest creates a higher low in comparison to the second peak W, you stay in the trade. So this trade managed to be okay, even though it broke the ideal retest area. It's very clear that we had a rise level 1, we have a retrace, we have a rise level 2. Within that, you can see 1, 2, 3 hits to the high, 1, 2, 3 hits to the low, 1, 2, 3 hits to the high. It's very, very obvious. The problem now, I wonder if anyone in the chat can see it. The problem now is we're in the dead gap zone, so just don't take this too seriously. But we do potentially have an M formation off the 800 EMA. So just watch this very closely. If you are in a long position, make sure you've taken some profits at least. Move your stop to break even. sorry, unless you just want to fully exit because it's hit the target. This was the target from yesterday. We hit it. So you may just, you may be okay with that. If you want to try and ride it a bit further, just be aware that that is looking like an M formation. And if we zoom out on ETH, it has broken the range. So it's a little bit of a different story to Bitcoin. However, the candle of imbalance is all the way up here, which it's nowhere near yet. So I'd be going off the 800 EMA on this one. And yeah, just be careful with that information. Obviously, it's a no entry yet because we've missed it. If you were to short it, we've missed it unless you happen to get it before this live. But your second, if that M formation proves to be true and we're going down today, it's going to break the 50 like it looks like it's trying to do now, retest it, and then it's going to go for the second leg down. So that retest is going to be your short entry on Ethereum if this move is over for the day. So as much as we love just riding the W formation, 3-level rises, M formation, 3-level drops, we just don't have a typical week happening right now, and you have to be prepared for anything. The other thing too that is just so interesting about Ethereum is in this move up here. Let's have a look at this. So before that move up happened yesterday, we had $15 billion worth of short leverage in the market before the move, so around the W. By the end of it, we had basically completely wiped that out. So again, we are neutral in the delta. Lots of liquidity either side. The market makers can send price basically anywhere they want at this point in time. So just, it's, if you feel like you're guessing, just don't take a trade and just wait and see what happens. Or you set your setup and you set your trigger. So for me, the trigger is going to be, it does look like this wants to come down. So for me, the trigger is going to be, just let this play out now. If you're not already in a trade, you've missed it. Wait for the retest, see what happens. It is only just the start of Asia, so no need to rush into anything right there. There was something else I wanted to show you. Yes, let's talk about the astrology quickly because there's something interesting that lines up here. Now, I get this astrology from Crypto Damas on Twitter. It's Astro Crypto Guru. Really, really highly respect him. So if you're not following him on Twitter, be sure to go over and do that. But he has said here about the 26th. I'll translate this into English. Venus, which is planet of love, money, beauty, and things like that, makes an edgy square. So a square is not a good, it's not good. And then Uranus is like chaotic. So the square and Uranus is not good for, even though Venus is good. That is bringing a sharp, unexpected move in the markets. Now, the thing about this, and also unfavorable Sun square Mars. So we now know that square is not favorable. Sun brings energy to what the planet already does. So Mars is, angry planet. So if the sun is bringing energy to an angry planet, that's even more angry, right? So therefore, the fact that this is lining up with the 26th here, what we're seeing around here, doesn't look great. However, don't build a bias around it. It's just something interesting to keep an eye on, but it can sort of, help for us to see or sort of get an idea that if we do continue moving up, if we do get our 3-level rises before Friday, you're probably going to want to close those trades and just not be in trades around this event because anything could happen and we really don't know how bad it's going to be. So is that all I had to tell you? Yes, I think it is. Yes, it's all. Now that Asia's open, we'll take one quick look to see if any of these orders, don't you hate when that happens? One quick look at these. So those long orders have reduced. They're still there. They're not as significant. That's a bit of a worry. So as price is heading down, those long orders have reduced. We still do have these shorts up here at 22. So who knows? Oh, hang on. They've come back. See how they play games? So 21,150 has come back. So that's definitely the area to watch. As Bitcoin heads down, let's go back to Bitcoin now. As Bitcoin heads down, if you're short already, great. But if you're not, watch this area because it could end up being a short-lived short. And if you get a nice bounce somewhere around here, it could be an entry for the next long to get up into these area of shorts over here. Let me see if there's any you do ever need to grow up. Let me see what else. Guys, yeah, I can see a lot of comments about the Discord. So right now the Discord is closed to new members because we are moving over to a new system as of the 1st of September, and we are launching some new services as well. So you can still check that out. It's tradetravelchill.club/plans. You can go there and have a look to read in advance what is coming up. And there's a little video there you can watch as well. But we're not actually taking new members. However, if I do this, is it going to make noise? I don't know. Just block your ears for a second because I just want to show you something. Oh, we're good. Are we good? Yeah, we're good. If you go into any of my videos and you come down here, it says free welcome section. So that links to our Discord. There's a free section in the Discord and you can click on that and just come and join us in that section until the new packages are released. And obviously we don't teach anything in the welcome session, but at least you're there to get notified when I'm going on social media. There's chats there. You can ask questions. There's a few other things that you can learn there as well. So be sure to come and join us in the free section till the end of the month. If you're interested in actually learning this full method, then you can join after the 1st of September. All right, guys, that is all I have for you. Be careful today. Continue to keep your eye on S&P and NASDAQ. It does have some influence. It's just not an immediate influence. And stay safe out there. And I will see you for tomorrow's update. Bye-bye.